risks associated with surgery. They'll help you with musculoskeletal injuries and diseases, as well as various conditions that affect different parts of your body. To find out more about these cutting-edge regenerative treatments that can help you get back to feeling your best, contact 816-994-9300 for your by-appointment-only consultation, or visit www.stimulusortho.com. If pro athletes from the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, WNBA, and Major League Baseball can trust them, then you can too. Get relief from your chronic pain today at Stimulus Regenerative Orthobiologics.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One. Coming up on Sunday Night Football, a showdown between two NFC rivals needing a win when the San Francisco 49ers host the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is coming off their bye week at a disappointing 3-3, while the injured and struggling 49ers dropped to 3-4 last week. Who will get the critical win? Join Ryan Ratke and Mike Golick to find out on Sunday Night Football.
Right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades. Track Talk, brought to you by Rod-In Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We've got Brett Marks, Trenton Berry, Connor Wade, Chase Rodman, and a second interview in hour number 2 of Brett Marks. Todd?
Yeah, part 2. It's we talked to Brent.
That was a long interview, wasn't it?
We Brent's an awful nice guy, and he was gracious with his time. So we had a full 35-minute interview with Brent, so I went ahead and just
cut it up.
I cut it up. If you want to hear the full, complete interview with everything he has to say, including some of the stuff with the previous races that we probably won't talk about during this interview, go back to our podcast and check that out. But yeah, we're going to have a 2-parter in this, and that way you stick around to hour number 2.
Kirk,
Brent Marks ended up on a strong note. Won the $20,000 at Lincoln Speedway last Saturday night, a week after $30,000 in the season finale at the High Limit race down there. So he struggled a lot this season, especially through the middle part of the summer, but he's ended up on a strong note, so it was fun to talk to Brent Marks about the way he ended up the season.
Kirk, last night's USMTS race got rained out.
Yeah, what a bummer that was. Man,
4 inches of rain.
We haven't had any rain in, 40 days? And it rained Thursday night?
Hey, did it rain hard at your house, Todd?
It was so funny because it was raining. It hadn't even started raining in KCK.
Right.
I headed up to Lansing, and the roads were sopping wet. I mean, puddled and everything. And I went in, did some shopping, and came back out. And as I came home, it started getting more lightning, and then it just opened up like buckets. Now, from what I understand, Lakeside was part of the first cell that did hit Lansing, so all of that rolled through.
Right.
So I got about 3 inches of water at my house. Now, Lakeside, I've heard somebody saying they got nearly 4 inches of rain there at there. So I drove down there I'm sure the pits were the serious issue with those big late model rigs that come in there. There was a lot of standing water down there. Now, the track wasn't nearly as bad as I've seen it before, but I'm just going to say I wasn't able to get to the pits because they had that all stuff blocked off down there. But we got so much rain. I had rain in my garage, guys. Like I said, it came up underneath my garage door.
Wow, how about that?
And so that meant it was blowing from the north and was just constantly up against my garage door for it to come up underneath that weather stripping. So yeah,
that doesn't happen very often, does it?
Only time it happens at the beginning of spring. That's usually when I get it, when we get the big storms in springtime. But we had water in the garage. My wife backed her car out, and there was water in the garage, and I thought, boy, I bet we got a lot of water last night. So yeah,
so you drove out there.
They said that they got up to 4 inches of rain last night.
I drove
at Lakeside Speedway.
You thought the track would have been raceable, but we're not certain about the pit area.
I think the track I've seen more water on the infield. Here's what I think probably also happened. Since it was so wet earlier, there was no way for them to work the track at all in the morning. Because I think that track
they called it off at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I think what they probably got out there to the track that morning and saw how muddy it really was, and they wasn't even able to really get any machine there. And we didn't have sun.
That's
what I'm gonna.
The problem is the grandstand parking.
It's and I'm gonna say they have the they have the Halloween thing going on.
Right.
Also down there at the other end. So some of that parking is taken up. There was some puddling in the parking, in the gravel. So I do know if there's still puddles in the gravel, the grass still had lots of water and muddy. So I'm sure they were looking at limited parking for one.
Right.
Pits number 2 were an issue, and they probably wasn't able to get to the track early enough. And if you read on their thing, this wasn't a Lakeside Speedway call. This was a USMTS thing.
USMTS.
Todd
deal.
Staley had rented the track out for the night, so that was his call. This wasn't a Lakeside thing. So if you're mad at Lakeside today, that's not the people you need to be mad at.
Hey, Kirk, do you think they sold enough tickets?
Well, I don't know about that, but they're going to pay out a pretty hefty purse last night, $5,000 to win.
Check.
So they would have needed a pretty good sized crowd. It would have been a little bit cool last night, but it would have been okay weather-wise if they had the races last night. But who am I to say what Todd Staley saw in the facility? He's been around a long time. He knows whether it's going to make it or not for him. So he made the call, and as disappointing as it is, that's the end of the season at Lakeside Speedway because this event is not going to be rescheduled. But tonight...
So they announced that it wasn't going to be rescheduled?
It's not going to be rescheduled.
Yeah, that's it.
How about
but
that?
But tonight, the USMTS will be at 81 Speedway for the what they call the Spooktacular, and that's also a $5,000 to win race. And I would expect them to draw a pretty good-sized crowd at 81 Speedway tonight. So if you're looking to watch the USMTS guys, head about 3 hours down the road to 81 Speedway, and you can see the USMTS guys in action. Jim Chisholm is still the points leader. Jake Tim second. They still got a few more races to go before this championship is settled, but Jim Chisholm's got the upper hand right now. And we'll see what happens down at 81 Speedway. I'll have to watch it on Racing Dirt tonight. I'm not going to be able to make it down there, but if you want to watch it, can't be there, racingdirt.com is the place.
Did you see how they got it labeled as the spookiest night of the year, ghosts, goblins, and modifieds? Oh, my.
Hey, I want to give a shout-out to Marvin, who's listening in from Miamisburg, Ohio. Just so
welcome.
You know.
Every week. We appreciate that. Hey, just real quick on that thing. That's that Halloween night, so you can get your kids into the pits. They don't need you don't need a pit pass to go in there and do this thing. This is so pits open at noon. 2 to 3 is the Halloween walk with the trick or treat. No pit pass required.
Hey, Kirk, go on the message board and take a look at there. The KC family needs to send thoughts and prayers to Kirk Grogan. and his family because he's in the hospital.
Okay. I'll look that up here. I don't have it pulled up right at the minute. But, our thoughts and prayers go to the
Thanks, Sam, for passing that on.
Hey, listen. Just so you know, they're moving the King of America to Lucas Oil Speedway, aren't they?
Yeah, we had Trenton Berry on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, and of course he had told me that when a week ago out at Valley Speedway that they were going to move the King of America, big crown jewel modified event, from Humboldt Speedway to Lucas Oil Speedway next March. And, it didn't work out so well for the King of America this past March. Mother Nature,
weather
forced,
is the biggest problem with that.
And the final night got rained out, and they never were able to make up this year's King of America. And they were, weather was a factor. And so they're going to move it to Lucas Oil Speedway, a facility that if it does rain, they don't have to worry about the pit area and the parking lots getting muddy. They just have to make sure the racetrack is good. So that time of the year, I think it makes sense to go to Lucas Oil Speedway for an event of that magnitude, because if it does rain, you have a better shot at getting it in than you do at Humboldt Speedway or any other racetrack that time of the year. So we'll be talking more about that in the off season.
Carson Macedo picks up his 11th victory down at the ditch last night.
He did. He has the problem with Carson Macedo right now. He's too far back from David Gravel. Carson Macedo did win the race last night, but who finished right behind him? David Gravel. And so at this point, with tonight at the ditch and then the World Finals, David Gravel with a 70-something point lead right now.
74-point lead.
74-point lead. He's, I think he's the champion for the World of Outlaws this year. So
I would agree with you on that one,
Carson Macedo has run well enough over the last 3 or 4 months to be a champion. The problem is David Gravel hasn't been that far behind him.
Right.
And so therefore Gravel looks like he's going to be this year's World of Outlaws champion.
Hey, every story that we talk about you can find on racingboys.com, right?
That's right. Did the ditch take on Little Rubber last night?
It did.
It did, didn't it?
You know, it was funny that the announcers, they listened to the fans in the grandstands, and they said it wasn't going to take rubber. But Tim Crawley said it was going to take rubber about halfway through. And Tim Crawley was right, wasn't he?
Tim Crawley, the veteran sprint car racer who knows the ditch better, almost better than anybody else. He's a promoter now, Tim Crawley. Runs Texarkana 67 Speedway. He'll be hosting the Short Track Nationals coming up this next weekend. So I think when you hear Tim Crawley talk about what a racetrack's going to do, especially Riverside or even the old I-30 Speedway, he was an expert on that racetrack as well. I think you better listen. He was right about that, wasn't he?
He was. He was exactly right. And you know what? Some of the guys talked about it taking rubber about a lap 10 or 11 or 12. Somewhere in that area. They said it took rubber.
Most times rubber is down at the bottom of the racetrack. In this case, it was more towards the middle of the top side of the racetrack where the rubber groove was. So that made it unique. But Donnie Schatz found a way to power his way from 18th starting spot to 6th.
In the rubber.
In the rubber.
In the rubber. Donnie Schatz is the best at maneuvering in the rubber.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Kirk?
Yeah.
He's the best at getting through the middle when it's slick, and he's the best at how many times has he got the Hard Charger Award this year? How many times?
I can't say, but he has gotten it, and that's I think he would rather not win the Hard Charger Award. I think if you ask Donnie Schatz what he would rather do is qualify well enough to where he doesn't have to come from deep in the field to win races. But when you start as far back as 18th, you probably have zero shot of winning the race in the World of Outlaws.
If it wouldn't have took rubber, I think that he could have won that race.
Maybe. Of course, he has come from the back of the pack to lead races before. Remember the King's Royal earlier this year?
Right, yeah.
Donnie Schatz came from the back to lead that race before David Gravel was able to hold him off. So if anybody can do it, it's Donnie Schatz. But I think he would rather not win the Hard Charger Award and qualify well enough to be in the dash and start up towards the front. But the two big power players in the World of Outlaws this year ran 1-2, Carson Macedo, David Gravel, who's going to be the champion. Buddy Kofoid, I thought, was going to have a better night. He's the other guy that's been running a championship level this year.
David Gravel's doing exactly what he has to do.
He
Keep
does,
close to Carson Macedo.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, Gravel one spot behind Carson Macedo. That's where he wants to be right now.
Right.
I think David, he wants to win races, but he sees the bigger prize right now. Don't take any extra chances to put yourself in big trouble. Just ride right where you're at, lock the championship up, and celebrate it when it's all over. But I was going to mention Buddy Kofoid. I thought he would be up closer to the front last night. He started 6th and ended up 9th. Got himself, I think, out of the rubber on a couple of times right there, but he's still able to get a. How about Sammy Swindell, he turned
He's
69
today.
years old today.
And how about he ran in the top 10 last night, Kirk?
He made the dash, which, he started 3rd in the dash, ended up 5th.
He drawed a 3, didn't he? Do you remember that?
Yes, he did.
He drawed a 3.
And so he ends up in 5th place in the dash, starts inside the 3rd row of the A main, and still posts a top 10 finish. 10th place for the great Sammy Swindell, 69 years old. He won a couple of races at the ditch here earlier this year, didn't he? He's won features.
Right, yeah.
What, like 52 years in a row? Whoever's going to do that again?
Who is gonna be the next Sammy Swindell?
Nobody. There's not the next Sammy Swindell.
Sammy Swindell is the most unique guy. Listen, did you see the interview that we did with Scotty Cook down there at the ditch or at Devil's Bowl?
Yep.
When he flipped, he was very vocal about that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he was vocal about everything.
Right.
Sammy would tell you what he thought. And he still does. He's still out there doing it.
Sammy never minces words, does he? Does he ever mince words?
Never.
Never.
Yeah, that's why he's one of a kind. And there's
No.
not a next Sammy Swindell. You'll never see another Sammy Swindell.
Who do you think would be the next Sammy Swindell?
Nobody.
Hold on. I'm gonna put a name out there. Aaron Reitzel could be the next Sammy Swindell.
I'm not putting him on the level of Sammy. Aaron's a great race car driver. He likes to be the villain.
He likes to be the bad guy.
He likes to be the bad guy. He's coming off a World of Outlaw win at Route 66 a week ago. I think he's going to step into the Ridge and Sons are going to one car next year, so I think he's going to step up his game. But I'm not ready to put Aaron Reitzel on the level of Sammy Swindell. Not ready to do that. I don't think anybody's on the level of Sammy Swindell of what he has done in racing over a lifetime.
We've got Sammy's book right there on the counter on the coffee table right there. Todd?
Yeah, that's a great book, by the way. We've had Sammy on talk about it. He's led quite a life in racing. I enjoyed the Nationals this year, where Sammy and some other guys showed up with a car with coilover springs, the suspension on the car. It was truly an innovative car.
They were racing that car last night.
Yeah. They had that same suspension setup of the coilover.
They built a new frame, and they put all the parts on it, and it's kind of like the TMS car.
Yeah. See, that's what makes Sammy unique, is he'll come up with things that nobody else is even thinking about.
Right.
Innovations, fabrications, and then try to make it work. And Sammy Swindell, you can bet one thing. He may struggle with it for a while, but eventually he'll get it mastered.
Right.
So maybe he's onto something. But he was on a racetrack that was close to home last night, track he knows very well. And at 69 years of age, come up with a top 10 finish.
Can you believe it? 69 years old, and he's still running in the top 10.
Still doing
Do you
it.
believe that? And that wasn't an easy field to run with last night,
Well,
because
World Outlaw.
Carson Macedo, David Gravel, Shelton Hodgeshield, Logan Schuhart, Bill Baylog, Donnie Schatz, Giovanni Scelzi, Chris Wyndham, Buddy Kofoid, and Sammy Swindell rounds out the top 10.
Yep. So anyway, they're going to do it again tonight at the Ditch, Riverside, and then they'll have a week off, and then it's the World Finals after that at Charlotte. I suppose some of these guys, a lot of them will go to Texarkana next weekend for the Short Track Nationals.
Right.
In between this event tonight and the World Finals. We'll see how many cars they end up getting at the Short Track Nationals, which was not held a year ago because of rain. This will be the actual first time that the Short Track Nationals will be held at a new venue, Texarkana 67 Speedway. So we'll look forward to that.
All right.
We got some, we'll do it later on. We got some non-wing racing to talk about last night with Matt Westfall coming from the B Main to win at Red Dirt Raceway last night. We'll get into that quite a bit more. So big win for Matt Westfall. Long time coming. Worked the bottom of the racetrack to win at Red Dirt Raceway.
Glad you brought that up, Kirk, because we had somebody on the YouTube chat room that mentioned that. So that was I was going to mention that during the break. So Kirk got that in. So that's good stuff right there. I'm glad if you want to tune into our YouTube page, we got that as well.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Brent Marks is going to join us next here on Mostly our Track Talk. I always say Mostly Motorsports.
That's Monday, Mostly Motorsports, Mondays at 12 noon live, and we do that as a podcast as well. That's our other show that we do.
And I think that who are we going to have on? Brad Sweet?
Well, we got Brad Sweet coming on Monday and still working on another guest. Not ready to announce that yet.
Right.
So that's coming up Monday.
All right. We're going to take a break. Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back with more Track Talk in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products.
3 minutes, gentlemen, 3 minutes.
10-4.
Price competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Give me one good reason why I should call DM Law.
How about 3 great reasons you should call us? 1, it's easy. You can hire us today on your phone. 2, it's fast. We can start helping you today. 3, the results. Just listen to this.
After my wreck, DM Law got me $200,000.
Call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
All right, listen up. Your neighborhood hen house has great specials. Where else? Back at the butcher block, like KC strip steaks. We're talking USDA Choice certified Hereford beef, the finest beef raised anywhere around. Those KC strip steaks are 10 ounces and just $8 each. Or choose your own size, just $12.49 a pound. 80% lean ground beef, ground fresh several times each day, and perfect for burgers. That's just $3.99 a pound. And for you seafood lovers, how about fresh and delicious skinless salmon portions, 6 ounces, just $6 each. It's at Hen House, proudly serving Kansas City families since 1923.
Hey Kansas City, Stephen St. John here. Let me tell you about my incredible experience with Border Magic. They just installed stunning custom concrete landscape edging around our entire home. Our landscaping now looks like a work of art. This concrete landscaping edging will improve your curb appeal and enhance your property value. I would recommend Border Magic to anyone. Check out images of their work at southkc.bordermagic.com. Border Magic, a perfect cost-effective way to create a gorgeous first impression of your home. Call Border Magic today.
Hey folks, it's Justin Reed here to kick off the new KC Takeaway supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters. The KC Takeaway features burnt-ends, pepper jack cheese, pulled pork, and more pepper jack cheese, thinly sliced ham, and a kick of Louisiana heat. Oh my goodness, it is so good. Score the KC Takeaway at all Hy-Vee Market Grill locations or Zarda Barbecue in Blue Springs and Lenexa. A portion of the proceeds from every sandwich sold will benefit Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kansas City. The KC Takeaway from Zarda Barbecue. Come get some.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the PowerRide Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kirk, we had a chance to talk to Brent Marks.
We did. Brent Marks coming off 2 big victories a week ago at Lincoln Speedway, $20,000, and that was a week after he won the high limit finale down at the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track, $30,000. Brent Marks, he's won some crown jewels in his career. He's a 2-time National Open champion, also won the King's Royal and the historical Big One a couple of years ago, if you remember that. And he was a guest on Mostly Motorsports earlier this week, and here's part 1 of that conversation.
That was a big win for you at Lincoln this weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Last couple weekends we're great to us. Got a win with High Limit Series, the season finale down there at Texas Motor Speedway, and trucked all the way back home from Texas to race there at Lincoln and captured another $20,000. So that was really cool. The last 2 weeks, and to get another win here in Pennsylvania is always great. So winning in front of our hometown crowd is always a lot of fun.
Hey, it's so important. The High Limit Series is really tough, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's not only is it a hard series in general, just because it's a national series. The competition is really deep within the series as well, and it's anybody can win those races every given night. So competition is really hard. And it's a great series, and I'm really enjoying being a part of it. And, for its first year, I felt like they've done a fantastic job and really, brought the heat as far as competition goes. So it's definitely, very, really tough series, but also a lot of fun.
Hey, listen, are you a little disappointed that you only had 3 wins this year with the High Limit Series? Are you a little disappointed in that?
Yeah, I am. We had higher expectations, and we didn't quite meet our goals that we wanted to this season with the series. But that just leaves us room to grow, and we will do that. Come next year and just be better. We started the year out pretty well. We were running podiums a lot, just couldn't quite find ourselves in victory lane, and then we kind of got off the beaten path there in the summer and just struggled. And really worked hard on turning our program around and get back to where we needed to be. And we did there towards the end of the season and, just had some bad luck strike us and, prevent us from getting in victory lane and had some DNFs. But to cap the season off at the season finale was definitely very rewarding, and it was great. So we had, like I said, we have a lot of room to grow there, and we will definitely do that. So, like I said, didn't meet our goals, but that's racing sometimes.
Hey, listen, you picked up $50,000 down at Texas Motor Speedway. That was a big win for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. It really, turned our season around here towards the end of it, and it was really important for us to win that race, and we went out there and did it. And not only winning the race, we were in a tight points battle for that charter spot. Only 1 point ahead of Corey Day going into the finale there, and the best way to obviously lock that up was the win, and we went out there and did it. So that was a really special night for us. Not only because we won, but because of the charter, and we have also went on a pretty long winless streak there. Really, I think it was June the last time we won a race. So we went quite a while without a win, and it got pretty frustrating. So it just felt great to get us another one there, and then and then we went 2 in a row by winning Lincoln last past weekend. So so great way to end the season so far. We only got a couple more races left, but we definitely capping it off in a big way. So it's just we're really proud of this team for how hard they've worked and overcome a lot this season.
What was the decision to choose between the High Limit Series and the World of Outlaws? Was there the money's a lot greater over there on the High Limit Series? Just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I like the vision of the High Limit Series. I like where they want to take our sport and what they think sprint car racing should be, and so I really like that. I also like the fact that they weren't trying to cram 90-plus races down our throats,
right?
Which becomes a lot. So, the World of Outlaws is a great series, obviously, and there's so much history there, and it's such an important series. But it's been 3 years on the Outlaw Tour, and it is a lot. You race a lot. They schedule a ton of races. You start in February and don't stop till November, and that just becomes too much sometimes, especially when you're trying to raise a family. So it just didn't fit for me anymore, and High Limit I think is based a little bit more around family values and just trying to not have such a long season, but are able to still race for a lot of money and race nationwide too. So I think that's just kind of the way things are heading in the sport. There's just so much opportunity to go out there and race,
right,
and fill in the gaps when you need to. And so it's kind of great, what they're doing, and really happy with the direction that they're going with it.
You picked up one win with the World of Outlaws. You had 5 top 10s and 10 top 10s. Just talk about the World of Outlaws a little bit, and just talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, this season we didn't have a whole lot of races scheduled with the World of Outlaws, and our schedule didn't really allow it, and we spent the first part of the year racing with them, just because High Limit didn't start up until I think the first week of April or something, or second week of April or something like that. So we went down to Florida and did the Texas swing, Oklahoma swing, and all that with World of Outlaws. And then after that, it was really just minimal racing with them. We raced some at Williams Grove with them, and obviously the sanctioned, Kings Royal and Knoxville Nationals, the normals. So, I felt like we had good results with them this year, even though we didn't get to race with them a lot. A lot less than what I've had in the past. So that was the change, and World of Outlaws is obviously as tough as ever, and nothing is ever going to change there. They're going to definitely have some of the best drivers in the country racing in the series, and High Limit does as well. So I think it's just great that they're able to kind of work together and have both series out there that leaves the team, to decide what's best for them. Some teams decide, World of Outlaw Racing is best for them, and some decide High Limit Racing is best for them. And
right.
It's great for fans because they get, they get to see both and have some options to choose from, and I think it's really cool.
Hey, Brent, this Kirk, congratulations on the recent victories. I was down at Lucas Oil Speedway for the event down there. You got upside down in the A-Main. Talk about what happened. Were you in a new car at Texas? Because a fourth place and a win 2 days after crashing at Lucas Oil Speedway. Did you put a new car on the racetrack after what happened at Wheatland?
Yeah, that was a different race car. That race was, a little bit earlier in the season, so we had to rain out and then had to make up there, heading down to Texas. So the car that we've been racing is actually one from last year when we won the World Finals down there at Charlotte. So that's a great car, and we brought it back out, and it's treated us well here. But yeah, Lucas Oil Speedway is a really cool racetrack. First time I was ever there this year, and really enjoyed going there, and hope we can go back there in the future. And that first night that we got upside down there, just one of those situations where I was pushing the car past its limits and really couldn't handle how hard I wanted to drive it, and I got myself in trouble. So sometimes that happens, but you learn from your mistakes and you move on to the next one and try not to duplicate those mistakes. And that's all you can do as a driver.
We'll have part two of Brent Marks coming up in hour 2 exclusively on Racing Boys. ASCS racing last night, Scott. They had 360s down at RPM Speedway in Texas. Seth Bergman. He's going to finally win this championship, isn't he? A long sought-after championship. And Seth Bergman went a long way of nailing that down last night, didn't he, down at RPM?
Sam blew up last night, didn't he? He was leading the race, and he blew up.
Caught on fire, didn't it?
Right.
He wasn't happy about it either,
that.
was he? Sam was not happy about that. He tossed the steering wheel out, got out, and he just looked at it. He said, I ain't got any good luck lately. He's run well. Sam Hafertepe has run well to win a lot of races, but over the last few weeks he's had mechanical problems that it's been very frustrating to see what's happened to him. He just grabbed his steering wheel and walked off to the pits after that happened, and Seth Bergman was able to capitalize on it.
Sam has a 129-point lead over Sam Hafertepe Jr.
Too far out.
Yeah.
Because after this weekend, they've got 3 nights in Tulsa. They got Tulsa Speedway on Thursday night, November 14th. November 15th and 16th, the Fuzzy Fall Fling at Creek County Speedway. So Seth Bergman is going to win this championship, and he'll win the Emmett Hahn Trophy for doing that. So hats off to Seth Bergman. We've reached out to him. Maybe we'll hear from him this morning. If not, we'll get him on Monday's show. So he had to work at it last night, though.
I sent a message to Seth, and I asked him to be on Monday's show.
Yeah. That'd be good.
That's
so
going
we'll
to be a
look forward
good
to
show.
hearing from Seth on Monday. Hank Davis driving Wayne Johnson's car, 18th to 2nd. He had to come out of the B main last night. He finished 3rd in the B main and charged his way from 18th to 2nd. Did you think Hank Davis might have had a shot at Seth there at the end?
No, I didn't. I didn't think he had a shot at him at all, to be honest with you.
Big finish for
Seth
Hank Davis.
Seth had a pretty good lead.
He did. And so he went a big step toward nailing down the ASCS National Tour Championship. Brady Baker finished in 3rd, Matt Covington 4th, and Colby Stubblefield 5th. I thought Blake Hahn was going to be a player last night, but somebody crossed up in front of him and bent the front nose wing on that car. And I think that caused Blake a little bit of trouble staying up towards the front. He was able to finish in the top 10. He was 8th, but I thought Blake had a car that had a chance to win last night till that front nose wing got bent up. What do you think?
Kirk, Zeb Wise has been relieved of his duties in the Rudine number 26 car.
You know, I thought that that news was coming because at the Trophy Cup last weekend, you had Trey Starks driving that Rudine 26 car. Won Saturday night's feature event, and you're thinking, okay, where's Zeb Wise? So he's out of a ride in the 26 Rudine car, huh?
He has been relieved of his duties.
I don't anticipate Zeb having any problem finding another ride, do you?
No, I don't expect him to. I feel like that Zeb Wise is a very good sprint car racer. And I think that he'll find a ride.
You know, I think back to that crash that Zeb had at the World Finals last year and really took a nasty spill. How much effect do you think that had on Zeb? That was a pretty nasty crash.
That was pretty bad wreck, wasn't it?
But this year, he was in a very ultra-competitive high-limit series where a lot of people had struggled to get good finishes out of that series. It was so deep and strong. And I thought Zeb ran pretty well, but apparently not well enough in that 26 car that they're looking for a new driver. Who's the new driver going to be? As we mentioned, Trey Starks was driving that car last Saturday night in the 360.
I think Trey Starks is the guy that's going to replace Zeb Wise. I think so.
Well, we'll wait and see how that all shakes out. Silly season in full bore. We're still waiting to see who's going to drive the 5 car that Spencer Baston drove. Now Spencer Baston is going to be a full-time driver for Jason Myers because Corey Day is going to be full-time NASCAR next year, part-time sprint car, but the full-time ride goes to Spencer Baston next year. And so that's just one of a number of changes that we expect to see in sprint car racing. Who goes to high limit, who goes to World of Outlaws next year, we'll see how that all shakes out.
Do you think some of the drivers will magnate back to the World of Outlaws? Do you think so, Kirk?
I do think that's the case because of how difficult it was to get top 10 finishes in the high limit series this year.
You know what Brett Marks said? Brett Marks said it was too tough to run 90 races.
And that's why he chose not to go the World of Outlaws route.
Right.
Because the high limit has a much lower number of races, and that was attractive to a lot of these guys.
Right.
But still, you know, they want to win too. And if you see the field at World of Outlaws and you think you can step in there and become more competitive, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see a couple, 3 or maybe even 4 or 5 think about switching over to World of Outlaws.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Trenton Berry's going to join us next here on Mostly Motorsports, or Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of...
3:30, gentlemen, 3:30.
Has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hot wheels and hot deals are waiting for you at Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC. Right now, get up to $13,000 off MSRP on select new models with no payments for 90 days. Available on the new GMC Sierra, Terrain, Buick Encore GX, and more. And their inventory is so huge you've got to see it to believe it. Don't miss out. Shop Kansas City's #1 GM dealer for the hottest selection, service, and savings. Visit robertbrogdon.com or stop by in person at I-35 in Santa Fe. Includes all incentives and rebates available. See dealer for details.
Hey, Soren Petro here. You've heard me talk about my collection of sports jerseys. I'm very proud of them. And there's only one place I trust to frame them. Art and Frame Warehouse at 92nd and Metcalf. Locally owned and operated, they've been in business for 20 years. And they specialize in jerseys and sports memorabilia. They offer the best customer service. Give you gallery quality at warehouse prices. For samples of their work, go to framekc.com. Mention 810 to get major discounts on memorabilia and shadow boxes. For the best in framing, trust Art and Frame Warehouse. Online at framekc.com.
Icon is seeking healthy men and women ages 18 to 65 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Women must be of non-childbearing potential. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 19 nights and one follow-up phone call. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $10,500 for time and travel. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
90 seconds.
That's forever. So after all the storms, extreme high winds, and hail that have hit the Kansas City area, make sure your roof is in good condition by scheduling a routine inspection with WeatherTech Renovations. You've probably experienced that the insurance deductibles these days are increasing. You don't have to pay those high deductibles. Whether you're replacing your roof out of pocket or through an insurance claim, WeatherTech can finance you. It's great to know that the good folks at WeatherTech have other options available. How about 0% on a portion of the roof job or even all of it? Wouldn't you like 12 to 18 months to pay? Call WeatherTech Renovations at 816-988-8957 or online at WTRenovations.com. When my sons needed help with the roof at their homes, they both called WeatherTech Renovations, and they're glad they did. So call WeatherTech Renovations today, just like they did. 816-988-8957 or online at WTRenovations.com and tell them SSJ sent you.
For 40 years, Trailside RV Center on I-70 in Grain Valley, Missouri has been serving the heartland, selling and servicing Keystone RVs. Trailside RV has always been family owned, and with our low overhead, we have the lowest prices in the country on the motorhome, travel trailer, or fifth wheel of your dreams. Sales, parts, service, and great financing terms for you and your family. Visit us in store or online at trailsiderv.com.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. And, Kirk, we had a chance to talk to Trenton Berry.
Trenton Berry is the co-owner of RacinDirt.com. They do all the live video for the top modified races around the country, including the USMTS. They'll be at 81 Speedway in Wichita tonight. And we spoke with Trenton earlier in this week before Lakeside Speedway got rained out last night, but talking to him about the championship run and the end of the season for the USMTS. Jim Chisholm is the champion this year, right?
I don't know that that's totally settled just quite yet. So we got 3 regions in the national champions. So that $180,000 bonus, you have to win all of them, and he is not in the lead in the southern region. So we have I believe it's 4 races left in that southern region. So I don't know. We can finally say that he's got the wraps on everything just quite yet, but
yeah.
Jake Tim started out really good in that southern region and built a pretty big lead there. And I believe Dan Ebert, don't quote me on that, was really high in that southern region too. So we got a little bit of work left to do there, but Chisholm's put together an unreal season this year for sure, and he's going to have a good shot at it all. Yes.
Hey, Trenton, I know you got to run here, but I just wanted to talk about this Heartland Modified Tour. Man, what a weekend. I was out there at Valley Speedway on Friday night. That field of cars you had out there, 32 cars, and, man, there were some good racers in that field, and you back that up with, 27 cars on Saturday night at I-35 Speedway.
Yep.
Just talk about this new, since the first year of the series, you got to be thrilled about where this is headed.
Yeah, man, I really am. It's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in racing, and it's in my soul, I guess I should say. I don't know a way to tell you that I think much more about it and the effort and the work, and I'm proud to do it. And you guys saw it. These dirt modifieds were on life support, and they had a very short window left. Meaning they were going to race until Lucas was sick of them, and they were going to race until Mike Johnson was sick of them, and then we were probably going to be BMOD exclusive in the entire region. And 81 Speedway, till 81 Speedway was sick of them, and that was it. And one of the most things I've been the most proud of is the support from these great racers and how willing they've been to travel, to go try new things, to figure out their work schedules, because we raced on a lot of Fridays, and sometimes these guys would have to go travel 3 and 4 hours on a Friday, and they'd try to sneak a half a day of work in to make it go, and they'd burn their vacation days, and nothing happens without great racers. So you get great racers, you get a powerhouse group of sponsors behind it, and you get some awesome racetracks that are just dying to try something different, and it all just kind of came together this year. I would say better than we had anticipated overall. We had some nights, we had some pretty steep learning curves too, though, on the operations side of the race. And I'll be the first one to tell you it wasn't all rock stars in paradise, but we did the best we could, made the best decisions we could at the time. And when we screwed things up, we owned up to it. We went back and reevaluated things. And I'll be honest with you, there's 3 or 4 things that we changed over the course of the year that we thought were right that were just flat out wrong. And I'm not too proud to sit here and admit that we had all the answers and didn't have some things screwed up, because we did. And we got a couple more that we snuck by through the end of the year and just made it through without any sort of disasters operations-wise, and we're going to clean a couple more things up for the start of 25. So, but overall, it was a fantastic season. Eric Chesterman really put a lot of work in to build the schedule, to deal with the racers, things behind the scenes. He put in a really nice text program, and he stayed up with that all year with all the prospective teams. And, between he and I, we took the phone calls and the texts and listened to what the racers wanted, and we talked to the promoters, and, even things too, like, I don't think people care about press releases and racing like they used to. I don't think they're nearly as big a deal, guys. I really don't. I don't think where the modern race fan is at, I don't think those are as dire as they used to be. But I sat there on my computer and I sat there and wrote press releases, because that was how I was brought up, and that was how we're supposed to do things. And if you're going to run a professional organization, you have to have an email list, and you have to get that content distributed out. And we sat there and did that. And I'm not going to lie to you, there's some nights that my eyes were so bloodshot and tired I couldn't stay awake to get them finished, and whatever, and I'd power through as long as I could and get it out the next morning. But just a commitment to trying to do things the right way from top to bottom the entire year yielded some phenomenal results. And just what a great group of racers that follow you. You're dead in the water with the series if you can't bring race cars. And I'm telling you, we had some great people pulling on the same rope as us this year.
I want to make sure we take care of a good buddy, Johnny Allen, down there at 81 Speedway. Big night down there, too, on Saturday night.
You bet. So, hey, cool thing so they run what's called the Halloween Spooktacular. One of the awesome promotions if they do, and one of the most awesome promotions I see all year. They open up the pits for a period of time there. Oh, it's probably a couple hours before the races, and the racers bring candy, and they shuttle all the kids in there and usher them all around the pits, and the kids go trick or treat in costume at the races before it starts. They take and they put Halloween decorations all throughout the facility. Listen to this. We bought a 6-foot cat. Like, we bought us a little 6-foot devil-looking cat that we shipped right there to them, and they're going to put that thing up in the infield for us this year. So I've got some props to work with while I'm down there. This cat moves its head around, and it's going to be quite the deal for this weekend. So I love racing around Halloween, and 81 goes all out. They've been on this spooktacular deal here for 4 or 5 years, and big money, big crowd, awesome racing. The weather's usually great for this race, and they really do justice to the time of the year, and it's really special. John and JR, Katie, and that entire group at 81 in Wichita, man, they run as good a program as anybody in America at an absolutely premier racetrack. So looking forward to both of them for sure. Going to be phenomenal this weekend.
Hey, Kirk. They're going to run at 81 tonight, right?
Yes, sir. Boy, if you're looking for a place to go watch a race, 3 hours if you live in Kansas City to head down to 81 Speedway. It's a great racetrack. They always have a great show.
Are you going to head over
Allen
there?
Puts a good show on. I won't be able to make it down there tonight. I have some other plans, but that certainly would be at the top of the list.
What are your other plans, Kirk?
Well, we got I had some, but I'll be watching on Racing Dirt. So
right.
I'll see it. But they good races down at 81 Speedway, so check it out. Hey, I just want to get this in. My sympathies to the family of Bob Reed. If you remember, Bob's wife, Harriet, passed away here a few weeks back, and just a few days after her service, we lost Bob. And my thoughts and prayers go out to their daughter, Susan, wife, David, the Shipman family, Reed, grandson, Reed, and all the friends and family of Bob Reed. I didn't get this in a week ago, but I just wanted to offer my condolences to the family of Bob
I want to
Reed.
give a shout-out to Tim Shields. His dad died.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that
Right.
as well. I just wanted to make this mention, too, about Kurt Grogan. I got a report here that as of 10 o'clock last evening, Kurt came out of surgery into ICU, is in critical condition and still on respiratory. He had 2 triple bypasses. He has a pump for a bit. Before surgery, they were going to get him up in a chair today and walking, but with all the work they did, unexpected work, won't know if it is still going on. He has about 25 bags of different meds going on at once, and they're going to keep us updated. To Kurt Grogan, say your prayers for him as well.
Right.
Grogan family, that's that big family in racing around Kansas City.
No doubt. All right.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, Reed.
If you get registered for the Corvette giveaway by October 31st, you can, if you put in Pumpkin 20 in the code, you get 20% more tickets. Let's go to sprintcarhof.com. You can win the 2025 Corvette ZR1. This car's got over 1,000 horsepower. All the proceeds go to the benefit of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. And so Pumpkin 20 in the code, 20% more tickets, sprintcarhof.com.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Don't forget, hour number 2 over on RBN. You can watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube. And you can watch us on racerboys.com as well. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. For Todd Surprise, for Jay back at Sports Radio 810 WHB, for my partner Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively, whether you're racing at the circle track or...
All right, we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it, brother. Everything's good. Appreciate it.
rods and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
When a KU versus K-State rivalry.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Shirt Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. 284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Lakeside Speedway with weekly racing every Friday night, plus great special events throughout 2024, including USMTS, MLRA, Malvern Bank Super Late Models, High Limit, Power I, ASCS, and much more. For complete schedule and information, it's lakesidespeedway.net. For the best coverage in dirt track racing, go to racinboys.com.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know, the funny thing about that is the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Track Talk here. We appreciate everybody joining us as well. Todd?
We gave out bad information about Lakeside Speedway. I did. I gave out wrong information about Lakeside Speedway in the first hour. I got to correct it. Lakeside Speedway is not done yet. Right, Todd?
Yeah, I'm sure that's why they just posted that on their Facebook page. They were probably had somebody listening. And
tonight
they have two. They got monster trucks out there today at noon.
Oh, at noon, at daytime,
matinee. Two of them. So you got a noon and a 6 p.m. show. So
you think it's dried up out there?
Well, it's plenty dry for monster trucks.
So a double matinee.
That's right. 2 times the smashing, it says out there. So car jumps, and it's like you said. And then they also have, I think they have that Halloween spooktacular thing or whatever they have also down there. It's like I don't know. It looks like maybe a haunted drive-through type of thing. They got a whole bunch of scary stuff set out there in that big field. But yes, monster trucks out there at Lakeside Speedway two
That ought to
times.
draw a crowd.
It should, and like you said, kids really like that. I mean,
kids love that more than anything.
And this is a great place to go because you can get so close, unlike when you're at Kemper Arena or at T-Mobile or Arrowhead Stadium. It takes quite a bit of money to get that close. At Lakeside, you're right there. It's going to be some really. I was out there yesterday and saw the infield how they had it all set up, and so it's all ready to go, guys. It's like you said, have fun out there. It'll be fun, and it looks like they're going to have vendors out there. Christie's truck's going to be out there. The mobile truck will be out there. Looks like they're going to have beer and stuff.
All day.
All day event.
Looks like the weather's going to be good.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine today. Like you said, we lot of rain yesterday and the day before. Or yesterday, it was the amount of rain that came down and how fast it came down yesterday was just pretty amazing. Another thing I thought about too was, I bet they had a lot of runoff, Kirk, from that dirt that they put to build the infield monster truck.
Yeah.
With the amount of rain they got, I guarantee you some of that mud had also worked its way into some of the places on the track too. So they were probably having to do a lot of work just to get that track ready, even to start prepping that track yesterday. So my thought is, go out there and bring the kids out there. It's a good event, fun time, and you can watch some trucks, smash some stuff up.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing Todd Staley for calling that off yesterday. Only he can determine whether that was going to work for him in his series last night. And all of these things you just talked about would have an impact on, getting the track ready to go with the monster trucks. So let's run through those times again, noon and 3.
Noon today. Let me pull it back up on my phone so I double check. But it was noon and 6 o'clock, so it's a double feature we got out there at Lakeside Speedway. Let me pull it up
Noon and 6.
Yes, sir. Here we go. I'm reading what it says. 2 times the fun at Lakeside Speedway today. Starting at high noon, monster trucks with epic power and drivers with epic talent performing for you fans. See the best smashing cars doing jumps and even racing on the front straight of Lakeside. Can't make it at noon. Second, complete show at 6 p.m. as well. Beer, ice cold beer by the
I might go out there.
Goodies, merchandise trucks, Christie's on wheels, and so very, very much more. See you there.
There you go. Today at Lakeside Speedway. Hey, have you ever heard of Pennsboro Speedway, Scott? This was the original site of the Dirt Track World Championship for late models back in the day. They had it there when it first started from 81 through 97. Then the track closed. It was shut down for 22 years, and they brought this track back. It's one of the oddest shaped, weirdest racetracks I think I've ever seen.
Can you send that to me, Kurt?
We're looking at it right
here. It's
here.
a 5/8 mile track, and it's egg-shaped.
It is
It's
egg-shaped.
an egg-shaped racetrack, and it's kind of narrow.
It's got a little racetrack in between it.
Yeah.
Yep, in the corner down there.
So this weekend, they opened this track up. They've been working on it for a while. There was a question whether they were going to be able to get it open because weather issues. They were supposed to have a full season of racing there this year. They weren't able to get it done. I think they had flood, even some heavy rain earlier in the year. Then there was some question, well, is it ever going to come back to life? Well, they got this track ready to go for a big event here at the end of the season. First time in 22 years they had racing on it. This weekend they have an event from the XR Super Series called the Mason-Dixon 100. And this thing will pay $30,000 to win tonight. They had a preliminary race on Thursday night. I think it's up on YouTube, Todd. They had the highlights. Bobby Pierce holding off Devin Moran to win the $10,000 top prize. This was on Thursday night. They ran modifieds last night, but tonight they're going to come back for a $30,000 to win feature event. And as I said, Bobby Pierce, who fresh off his Dirt Track World Championship victory last Saturday night, where he won his 35th feature of the year in his first ever Dirt Track World Championship at Eldora Speedway. Comes back to the original home of the Dirt Track World Championship and holds off Devin Moran for the feature event on.
Man,
look
that,
how strange
that track looks strange from above, doesn't it?
Track, is it not?
With that drone shot, it looks pretty
It's
crazy.
narrow, too.
It's really narrow when you see those big fat cars on that track.
But it was a hell of a finish.
I love this drone shot that we were seeing there. That was it's pretty cool race.
Yeah. Now that's Devin Moran in that 99 car coming around, but he chased down. It's so narrow. That track is really narrow, and but it's fast. And one end is much bigger than the other end, and it's a pretty wild track. They carry a lot of speed around there, and Bobby Pierce keeps doing it. We'll see if he can cap off the big one tonight, Scott. That Bobby Pierce, he's got it going on right now.
Right.
And the champion of the Lucas Oil Late Model Series is Ricky Thornton Jr. And how is that story? A guy who gets fired from his ride in the middle of the season, SSI Motorsports, has to go looking around for another ride. Of course, the points go to the driver, you know. And so Ricky Thornton Jr. was able to come back and still win the championship after getting fired from his ride earlier in this year. $200,000 to the champion Ricky Thornton Jr., who finished third in that feature last Saturday night at Eldora.
$200,000.
$200,000.
And we won't get him either on the show.
Well, I'm still working on it. Never say never.
We've been trying to get him since.
I'll bet I get him on. I
might take that bet. I don't usually take bets, but I might take that one.
We're still working on it.
Might take that one.
I might take that money bet.
I'm working on two other drivers right now, Tyler Courtney and Cannon McIntosh. It's been a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, we've got a back door. We got a back door in with those guys, though. Like you said, I know somebody who knows them.
Hey.
So we'll be all right with them, but I don't see Ricky Thornton giving us a call back.
Brad Sweet has never turned us down, has he?
Never. Only reason why he turned us down earlier this week was because he was in Mexico.
He was in Mexico. He was on vacation.
Right.
You know, I reached out to Brad about a week ago, and several days later, I think Tuesday, he texted me back, "Oh, I'm very sorry. I just got back from vacation." And so there are some of these guys that are really good and get back with us. Brad Sweet is one of them, and he will join us on Monday.
Yeah, Brad,
talking about his high limit championship.
Well, and like you said, he's invested heavily into the series. He has reasons to.
He's won 6 national championships in a row now. He won 5 straight with the World of Outlaws. And now he's the first ever high limit champion. Of course, you remember he ended up on a strong note. He won both races at I-70 and Lucas Oil Speedway and the weekend opener at Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track. So he ended up on high note. The only bad thing about Brad Sweet at the end of the season, he fed old James McFadden a wheel in turn 4 and sent McFadden flying for the second time this year that happened. And you could tell Brad Sweet and victory when they were celebrating the championship that night was a little bit bittersweet. He didn't really want to see that happen. You could tell Brad didn't want to see that happen.
McFadden was pretty good about it too. He went up and patted him on the shoulder when he went up and talked to him. Like you said, he could have been.
Yeah, but at first James wasn't very happy.
No, he
was out of that race car.
He wasn't.
He ran over to Brad.
But I think Brad let him know how he felt. That he felt pretty bad about that.
I'm not sure how much longer we're going to see James McFadden.
Yeah, he talked about it. He's probably
heading back to Australia.
Yeah, he'll be racing there quite a bit. He acted like in that interview we did with him, you know, he might race a few events here, but he won't be over here full time. So I imagine when he does come over, though, he's a fan favorite. So whatever tracks he chooses to show up, like you said, it isn't that. Like you can just jump on a plane and get here in an hour or two. We're talking halfway around the world, guys. So
would you like to go to Australia sometime?
Yeah,
I would love to go over there.
Yeah, I'd love to do it one time.
There's not many places I'd like to say that I hopped in a plane and flew half.
How many hours does that take to make that flight?
Isn't it 11 hours? I can't remember.
God.
I know it's depending on where you fly out from. Obviously, you know, if you fly out from where we are, you're going to have to add another few hours just to
That's
get
a big trip.
So,
I'd love to do it one time.
just to say you did it.
Yeah.
So
But anyway, James McFadden, what was so cool about him is after he'd win, he'd take his shoe off.
He'd drink out of that thing.
And pour, I don't know what he poured into
He pour in his drink and drink his beer. Right,
and drink right out of the
right
shoe.
out of
They
that
call it a
nasty,
shoey.
that nasty ass shoe. Ugh.
Oh, man, that's kind of gross, isn't it?
Well, like you said, beer, yeah, I'm not drinking out of my shoe.
Seth Bergman just confirmed that he's going to be on the show on Monday.
Sweet.
So we'll look forward to talking with him.
Make sure you guys tune in Monday. If you
he
don't,
may have another win under belt. If he wins again tonight,
right,
then we might have 2 wins to talk about and a championship.
if
So
you can't tune in live,
I'm not sure if can he wrap it up tonight. I don't know.
I think he can wrap it up tonight.
Yeah, I don't know how the math works out as far as we got 3 races left after tonight, Tulsa and 2 nights at Creek County. And can he mathematically wrap? I doubt if he can with 3 races left, but he's pretty much got this thing effectively wrapped, especially with
all
Sam
he's got to do
Hafertepe.
is keep it close.
Yeah. Sam Hafertepe having those mechanical issues last night.
That was a death nail to him.
I think so. And Sam had won, 5 championships himself in the ASCS?
Yeah.
So, but it would be great to see Seth Bergman win the championship. He's been working at this for a long time to make this happen. So we'll watch tonight down at RPM Speedway and see if he can double up the weekend.
Kirk, we had a chance to talk to Connor Wade.
Connor Wade is the pit reporter for the World of Outlaws. Does a great job. We saw him at work last night down at Riverside, and we talk with him on a regular basis. I think we'll have him back on Monday. And here he is from this past Monday's Mostly Motorsports, recapping the weekend at Route 66 Raceway last weekend.
Kirk and I were talking a little bit earlier in the show. Do you think David Gravel's got this thing wrapped up?
I do, yeah. It's a pretty sizable points gap. It's going to be really hard to, shrink within 5 races. So I do. I think it's locked up. Great years by both David and Carson. It's been fun to watch them battle it out. But David's just been so consistent all year, and I guess mathematically it's not over until it's over. But the common sense in all of us sees that it's pretty much wrapped up, just based off of how consistent David's been and able to avoid all the disasters and do all the little and the big things right. So I do believe he does.
And I think the main reason we talk about this, with that healthy a point lead that David Gravel has, is the fact that both Carson Macedo and Buddy Kofoid have been racing at championship level for some time now. The problem is they're running out of races, but those 2 guys have ran so well here over the last couple of months that if they'd been doing it all year, they'd be right there with and maybe in front of David Gravel right now. That's how well both Macedo and Kofoid have been running lately.
Yeah, you're right. I'd be interested if you tallied up the points since the Knoxville Nationals or even since the Jackson Nationals. I think Kofoid and Macedo would probably be your top 2. I'm not quite sure what order they'd be in. But yeah, I would agree. And with Macedo, if you take out his 4 nights during Dirt Car Nationals in February, and then his 2 nights at Knoxville in June when he really struggled, if those 2 nights are out of the equation, or if he's a little bit better, then he's the point leader right now, just with those 6 races out of play. So that tells you how tough it is to win this championship, and how much of a fight it really is, and how you've got to unload and be on your game each and every night.
All right, Buddy Kofoid, he had problems on Friday night, weren't able to get the car pushed off. Did you ever find out what was going on there with the 83 car that you couldn't get pushed off on Friday night?
I think it ended up being two things. I think it was both a cam spud and the magneto. I'm an issue with the magneto, so they thought it was the cam spud whenever they left the track Friday night, and they got to the track Saturday morning and tried firing off, and the turtle wouldn't fire. So then they figured out that there was an electrical issue too. So good thing that they caught it early in the day like that, firing it off like they did, and were able to make the necessary changes. So it was kind of a weird deal. They don't really know which one happened first, but it was a combination of things that were sort of unrelated for Buddy. So that was tough to see for him Friday night.
5 wins, 12 podium finishes since they were at North Dakota back in, what was that, August? That Buddy Kofoid has now. 12 podium finishes. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think it's 15 of the last 17 races he's been fourth or better. So in those races since then that he's been off the podium, he's usually been fourth. So, they've been on an incredible run. They've just really found something. They finally got their engine program kind of dialed in after having a lot of problems with some of the Toyotas early in the year. But they really got it figured out, and not only got them to run consistently and not blow up as often as they were. So they got dependability out of it and speed as well. So it's pretty impressive what they've come up with. This is probably, if you look at the history of the Roth car, probably the best the Roth car has been in terms of where I would rank them on a national scale since the days when Lasowski drove it, several years ago in the early 2000s or late 90s or whenever exactly it was. So I think it's a historic run, not only by a rookie in series history, but for Roth Motorsports as well. So it's been fun to watch. And Buddy's really, really young, and so is Dylan Buswell. And they've got the potential to be a combination for many, many years to come. So I kind of wonder if maybe we're just kind of seeing the beginning of what they're going to accomplish.
Hey, let me ask you this. Who won the Rookie of the Year this year?
Beat Buddy, right?
Buddy, yeah.
Yeah.
By a mile.
By a lot. Yeah, I mean, are they just going to the Roth's going to just campaign one car next time? I hear reports that McFadden's going back to Australia. He's not coming back next year. What's happening with the Roth team overall? Are they going to field 2 cars next year or not?
Yeah, McFadden is going back to Australia to race. He plans to, from what I hear, come back at some point. Maybe that's come here for 2 months. Maybe it's come from Kings Royal to Knoxville Nationals. Maybe that's not coming here next year at all. Maybe he waits a year or two to actually come back. But yeah, so we won't see McFadden around, which is really unfortunate. He's one of the best Australian sprint car drivers of this time period. And as for the second Roth car, I honestly don't know. I'm not sure that they even know. Obviously, Ryan Timms was in it at Trophy Cup this past weekend, and a lot of people are saying that with the Toyota ties, Timms would make sense, which he certainly would if they were going to do another national car full time. But I think there's also the option that they just run the second car locally in California, and then maybe if McFadden were to come back for, let's say, the Crown Jewels next summer, he could run the 83 Senior at those. So honestly, kind of from what I gather, I don't know that they know for sure what they're doing, and it's just going to be one of the many silly season storylines we're going to have to follow this offseason.
Let me talk to you about Donnie Schatz. Donnie Schatz had a hell of a year this year, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Got back to sort of some of the consistency that we had seen from Donnie in years past. At least he got closer to it. Won some more races, and was always a competitor to win the big races. You expect Donnie to, contend to win the Kings Royal and the Knoxville Nationals, and his Knoxville didn't go amazing, but he turned it around and ended up with a Friday night win. And honestly, if he would have started a little bit higher up in the feature at Knoxville on Saturday, he would have been a contender there too. So, but the Kings Royal honestly was probably my favorite race of the year between watching David and Donnie go at it, and Donnie, who was trying to win it for the 7th time, and then David trying to win it for the first time. So, got a big win at the Jackson Nationals, an impressive win at Peevely early on in the year, Wilmot, and then Lincoln as well. So 5 trips to victory lane and back up onto the podium in points. And, still, if you ask Donnie, it's probably not where he wants to be at, but I think an improvement compared to kind of the struggles that they had the last couple of seasons. So it was quite the honor. I consider Donnie Schatz the best of all time, and quite an honor to spend a year covering him on the Outlaw Tour for sure.
We had Donnie on our show last week, and I really appreciate his candor and honesty when he comes on our show. I really become a big fan of Donnie Schatz, especially over the last several years, because of he knew as well as anybody he was not going to win that Lincoln race if Sheldon hadn't got into the fence over there, and he admits that. I only won the race, he said, because Sheldon got up into the fence. He's pretty honest, isn't he?
You know what else he said? He said that there's some tire doping going on.
Really? I haven't heard anything about that. So, in this sport, there's always people that are either doing that or accusing people of doing it. So, I don't know anything about it. I don't know who he was alluding to, but that's never a fun storyline whenever it starts happening because, when people get caught, then you've got fines and suspensions and everybody's all pissed off at each other. So hopefully that's something that stays out of the storyline.
He didn't name any names, but he thinks it's going on. So anyway, that's part of the honesty and candor that you hear out of Donnie Schatz. So
yeah, Donnie's a great human being. I've enjoyed getting to talk to him at racetracks this year for sure. He's just as good of a human being as he is a race car driver.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And he thinks that, he doesn't know how much longer this is going to go. He's going to try to get to 30 years. He doesn't honestly know how much longer Tony Stewart wants to do this, but my guess is Tony will do it for a while because Tony doesn't have to micromanage the situation. He leaves it up to Donnie to decide how things go. So I'm guessing that Tony and Donnie will stay together for some time, don't you?
Yeah, I would agree. I remember...
What do you think?
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, whenever Steve Kinzer had retired but still wanted to race a little bit, Tony saying that he would have a car for Steve as long as Steve wanted to race. And I would assume that Tony's probably had that conversation with Donnie. Tony appreciates the sport, appreciates what Donnie values and what he represents. So if I were to imagine, I would say that Tony and Donnie decide, hey, we're going to do this as long as Donnie wants to do it. And then when Donnie wants to do it, or when Donnie is ready to hang it up, maybe they're both done at that point. But I really do think we're still at least a couple years away from that point in time. So we'll address that whenever it comes and really just enjoy, however long Donnie has left. I hope it's 5 or more years. I still think he could do it for at least another 5 years. I think he's got it. So a conversation for a whole nother day, I guess.
There you have it. Connor Wade joining us here on Mostly Motorsports.
We'll be watching tonight down at Riverside on the dirtvision.com. Connor Wade will be there reporting on all the activity going on from the pits and the infield. Does he stand when you stand in the infield, Scott, at one of these bull rings like Riverside? That gets pretty crazy, doesn't it?
It does.
A short track like Riverside, and you're standing on the infield watching those. You better be watching what's going on, right? You better be paying attention to what's happening.
The thing about sprint car racing is that you've got to always keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because things can happen in a hurry. I remember that iconic photo that one time of Joe Orth took of, where was that, at Eagle? Or was that at I-80?
I-80.
A car come flying over the top of him, and Joe is shooting the whole way. I mean, I don't know how it missed him, but he came very close to biting the dust on that one. And especially if you're a photographer down in the infield, you really got to watch where you're
doing.
Do
you remember up at US 36 when the car was flipping and almost landed on top of Joe?
That was the one I'm thinking about.
Right.
Yeah. So and he didn't put his camera down and go running away from it.
Right.
He just kept snapping pictures.
He just kept snapping the shot.
So, hey, big news in the world of drag racing. John Force is back at the racetrack this weekend. He put out a video a couple of days ago, and I thought he looked great. And it was just great to see him speak for the first time since that terrible crash at Richmond here about 4 months ago, where he nearly lost his life hitting the wall at over 300 miles an hour. And he's had to go through a long recovery process to get him back. But he looks like he is back. I'm not sure we'll ever see him behind the wheel of a funny car again, but who cares at this point? John Force is coming back to the racetrack this weekend, and everybody is happy about that.
Yeah, we'll play this interview here. It's only a couple minutes. It's just not an interview. It's just a statement from John. Let me get past this commercial real quick here. And
you want to just play that off YouTube?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, since it's only 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and it's public, so we're all good here. So we'll play that. Oh, hold on a second.
I think it's on mute.
Yeah, I gotta get this thing off of mute.
We'll get it straight away.
There you go.
Okay.
Hi, I'm John Force, 16-time funny car champ, and boy, am I glad to be here after that crash I had in Richmond. But at the end of the day, I'm going to recover, and I'm getting better already. I was in the hospital for 4 months. I'm still working every day to get my body back in shape, but I got to get my mind back in shape. I took a pretty big hit in that crash at Richmond. So I've been in the hospital there in Richmond. I've been in Phoenix, Arizona, going through rehab, and I'm out here now, and I'm working at it every day. This is about what I love the most, and it's racing. It's NHRA. I love my sponsors, and I love all the fans, and I love your letters and all the things that you've written and all your support. You've really been good to me in a hard time. I mean, I've had 4 or 5 months that I've been laying in hospitals, going through rehab, and I'm going to get better. I'm under doctor's orders. They tell me where I can go. I think they're going to tell me this week that I can go to the Las Vegas race. I want to watch Proc driving Robert Height's funny car. Brittany's running for the championship. She's back in the points, but she's got a fight ahead of her. Beckman's doing a great job. I love the guy. He's a great talker, and he's full of it more than me, trust me. But I felt I owed to tell you guys that I'm okay. I want to take a minute and thank you. I want to tell you I love you for the cards and the gifts and everything, and because you showed me that you cared in a time when I needed help. And before I go, I've thanked all of you, but I want to take a minute. I want to thank my wife, Lori, and all of my daughters, and I want to thank Robert Height. They were there in Richmond, and they're the ones that set up everything that I do, every appointment. They just was trying to get me well, and it was a scary time for them, not for me. I didn't have a clue where I was at. So we're going to be okay. And right now, I'm going to do what I'm always told to do: is that go back to my office and go to work.
John Force, 16-time NHRA Funny Car Champion. Now, it's not this weekend. It's next weekend.
Right.
They'll be back in action at Las Vegas.
I was going to say
then
next
the week
week.
after that at Pomona.
Frog's,
or 2 weeks after that.
Frog's mother had a 6 bypass surgery. She's 90 years old.
Wow.
How about that?
Frog, a loyal listener and former ARCA racer. We're thinking about you, Frog. Your mother. Wish her well. Speedy recovery.
Yep. All right.
That's pretty serious business right there. So prayers to
6
you and your mother
bypass.
there. Yep.
Can you believe that? 90 years old.
Yeah. Godspeed there. And also Kurt Grogan, thinking about him as well. So what we got? Part 2 of Brent
Yes, sir.
Marks. We had part 1 in the last hour, and here's more of the winner at Lincoln Speedway last Saturday night and the season finale high limit race at Texas Motor Speedway. Part 2, Brent Marks. He outran Darren Pittman on Saturday night down there. Boy, he was, and I was surprised that Kreitz, they were at Texas, but they didn't race at either I-70 or Lucas Oil Speedway, but they showed up at Texas Motor Speedway. Darren Pittman behind the wheel. That was quite a battle you had with him to get the lead that race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't think anybody expected the 69K to come down there. It's kind of a surprise to, I think, everyone.
Right.
But yeah, it's always a great race car around Pennsylvania here, and Darren's a fantastic driver, and as always has been, and he was able to bring the 69K down to Texas, and they were able to compete for the win in both nights, and so for being a retired driver, he sure does do well still. So, he always does a fantastic job, and he's taken over Ultra Shield, and I run his seats, and he's great to work with there. So always a great competitor. I've always enjoyed racing against Darren, and it was fun battling it out for another win against him. So I always enjoy racing against Darren. It's always fun.
All right, Lincoln Speedway, Saturday night. Boy, you were really working the high side around that racetrack to perfection. Talk about that. Did you hear Anthony Macri getting close there? That was pretty close there at the finish line, wasn't it?
That was an exciting finish right there at the end of the race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was typical Lincoln Speedway for me and Anthony. It seems like the last several years we're always battling for a big payday on the last lap. So a couple years ago, I passed him on the last lap for $20,000 to win Dirt Classic, and last year he passed me on the last lap for a World of Outlaw win there, and then this year, almost done it again, Denise. So it seems to be, like I said, pretty typical between me and him at that racetrack, and it's always fun racing against Anthony. We're both very aggressive drivers, and we race each other very aggressively, but obviously we both have a lot of respect for each other. So yeah, that was a long race, 50 laps at Lincoln. I've never run a 50-lapper at Lincoln, so that was just a different, different type of race that we're accustomed to running there. And, the track changes a lot throughout the race, and, the top just was there all night long, really in the feature, and the bottom. They did a really good job. The top was up there, super tricky, very thin, so you had to be very good. And the bottom was still there, too, so you can kind of pick and choose which way you wanted to go, but top just worked out well for me just because a lot of the lap cars just migrated to the bottom, so it kind of left me some clean track up top there. And I ventured down there a couple times, just didn't feel as good as the top, so it's one of those situations where I was either going to win it or lose it up there. So fortunately, we came out on top.
Matt Campbell got out to a pretty big lead in that race the other night. But you're working lap traffic for a lot of laps. You finally got up close to him there. Did you think he got out too far there for a while?
Yeah, they were really good at the beginning, I'll be honest with you. They got a little too far away from for my liking. We were set up more for the end of the race, which, obviously you want to be. So we were kind of off in the beginning a little bit, and it took longer for my car to come to me than what I had hoped. But it did. And, it all worked out in the end. It was very important to be the leader at that halfway point because they had a, $5,000 bonus for being the leader of the race at lap 25. So I was able to get that back, I think, on lap 23 or something like that. So came really close to not clinching that money there at the halfway point. But, it took longer for a car to come in than what I had hoped. And, Matt Campbell was very good there in the beginning and, really did a good job at keeping the pace really high because I just kind of wanted to ride around for a while and save some tire and so on and so forth. But, whenever somebody's keeping such a fast pace like that, you got to try to keep up as well. So
Right.
it kind of put me in a position of where I didn't want to be. But I felt like I saved just enough to, to manage it there for the last portion of the race. So it all worked out.
It seemed like Matt Campbell he's a pretty good racer, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. It always has been. Good Pennsylvania, local racers. So I mean, Pennsylvania competition is extremely tough. I grew up racing here, and they've made me the fierce competitor I am today. It's just some of the toughest competition you see across the country. So, and whenever drivers aren't racing in a series, they come to Pennsylvania to race because of how tough it is.
Right. Yeah.
Very proud to be a part of it. I like to venture out, throughout the country just to hit different racetracks. And, I'm part of the series right now. So I've always enjoyed that part of it just to keep it, fresh and exciting for myself, but still always enjoyed, racing in Pennsylvania. I just don't know if I personally could race the same tracks every single weekend. So that's why I kind of, like venturing out and traveling.
When we went, I did the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour broadcast for 13 years, and I traveled up and down the road. And when we went out there with Devin Borden, he stayed out there, and he's become a pretty good racer himself, hadn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said. As competition's so hard out here. You have so many opportunities to race, and you have different style racetracks to race within a 2-hour radius of each other. There's, 3 main ones that you can go race at. And obviously there's some that have 410 shows on occasion, but there's just so many different opportunities in Pennsylvania, and a lot of money you can race for here. And, you can race 90 plus races a year just in Pennsylvania alone. So there's a lot of opportunity here, and great car owners and just everything. So this is definitely the place to come race 410 sprint cars. If you're trying to make a name for yourself, that's for sure. And I think they, the tracks and everybody associated with the sprint car racing here in PA does a fantastic job, and they continue to improve every year. And the fans are just amazing as well.
What do you think about there's no live flagman in the stand at Lincoln Speedway? Got a virtual flagman. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that was my first time experiencing that, actually, and that was different. Always used to looking up for the guy waving the flag, and, just a big old screen there. But it was different. I didn't mind it, really, I guess. I wasn't really for it, I guess, at first when I heard that they were doing that. But it wasn't that bad when you're out there on the track. And it was kind of nice. I mean, it had a little lap counter on the bottom of the screen, so that was nice. So you can just kind of peek up and see how many laps to go there are. So I kind of enjoyed that part of it, because usually you're trying to find the tower somewhere, which is extremely hard because of where the location of it is at Lincoln. It's hard to peek up there and look at it. So that was kind of nice because especially for a 50-lap race, I kind of knew when to push and when not to push just based off of the lap counter. So that was cool, but it's different. I will admit, it's something I'm not used to, but could be the way of the future. I really don't know.
Brett, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us here on Mostly Motorsports.
What's left? Well, you got any more races to go?
Yeah, I got 2 more races yet. We're not going to Charlotte this year. We're going to skip out on that. But we got 2 races at Baps Motor Speedway, one this coming Saturday and then November 16th. So we're going to race them too and then call it a year and just prepare for next year.
And you're going to go high limit, do the same thing next year, right?
Why not the World Finals? How come?
This will be my first time in a long time missing it, but, I don't know. We just done a lot of traveling this year. It just really honestly didn't feel like traveling down to North Carolina for another trip. Always enjoy going to Charlotte, but, since they've extended it, it just becomes a really long, expensive week, and you don't get to race every day. So I kind of wish they kept the week shorter, kept us racing every single day, and I don't know, it's just becoming drawn out too much, I feel like. So, and you get a lot of cars on, all 3 divisions down there. It's a really cool event, don't get me wrong, but, it's hard, sitting around for 13, 14 hours out of the day, not really getting to race much. So we just decided not to do it this year.
What's that like having one of those charters for the High Limit Series? The top 5 are part of that. You were 4th in points this year. How big is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty big. You know, it's pretty cool what they're trying to do there with it, and hope to learn a little bit more about it come next season and what that all looks like. You know, we've kind of been briefed on it, and you know what the potential there is. So you know, when it becomes a reality is when it's really going to be exciting. So we still got another year yet until we really see the full details of it. But I like it. You know, that's really cool what they're trying to do, and I really think it's going to help the race teams out, and you know, really put us in a position financially to where it can be very profitable to be a part of the High Limit Series.
Brent Marks' season is almost over. I think he said he had 2 more races to go at Baps Motor Speedway and call it a day. So great guy. Love having him on the show this past Monday. Hey, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum has a sprint car giveaway. 2 days before Christmas, they'll be drawn for a Triple X chassis with an Al Parker Racing. It's a race-ready sprint car, and you can sign up for that now. Go to winasprintcar.com, and if you put in full 25 in the promo code, you get 25% more tickets. So December 23rd, the drawing for the sprint car happens. Get registered for that. winasprintcar.com. And, of course, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, open 7 days a week. Check out great display in the gift shop while you're there. Not too early to think about a Christmas present for your race fan friend or family member. Go to sprintcarstuff.com to see all the great items in the gift shop at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. NASCAR down at Homestead this weekend after Joey Logano won at Las Vegas last weekend, and Christopher Bell was not happy about that.
Boy, did you hear that in-car audio of Christopher Bell?
Yeah, he couldn't figure out, how's this happening? We're doing everything perfect here. Why is this happening?
That was, I have never heard Christopher Bell. He doesn't seem like, I mean, I know he's an emotional guy and kind of can be.
He finished second, but he wasn't happy.
He was hot on that radio, and they were trying to calm him down when they realized, because they were giving him the count, how much, and he was catching him.
Well, it was a fuel mileage deal. The 22 teams stretched out on fuel.
Yeah.
They didn't pit when everybody else did.
And they literally,
that's how they won.
He thought that he was going to run out of gas. That's what Christopher Bell could not figure out. What the hell was going on? Why? How could he?
But Christopher Bell is still in pretty good shape.
Oh no, he's locked. He's on, and he's like.
So Joey Logano is plus 17. Christopher Bell is plus 42.
I was going to say he was in the 40s. I thought, right?
Yeah.
So
Kyle Larson is plus 35, and William Byron plus 27.
Did you see Frankie Muniz is going to race full-time in the Truck Series next year?
He is. He was full-time ARCA guy.
Yep,
there
going full-time Truck Series. So,
what was the name of that show he was an actor on?
Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle.
And he was also Agent Cody Banks in a movie for the younger viewers. It was like a preteen, action adventure movie, and he was Agent Cody Banks. But he's got a commercial. Have you seen his commercial for his Rogaine commercial? Him and his wife.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he sets out. I get that one confused with Joey Logano. Joey's got one too, where him and his wife sit down and talk about the hair club for men.
Right.
And I saw Frankie's going to be there full-time truck race guy. I mean, obviously he's putting some money up. You don't get that ride for free, and he's obviously probably putting a little money up too.
The truck race, I think it's about 11 o'clock our time.
I was going to say, yeah.
Corey Day is going to be
in
the truck race today, so you want to keep
an
eye on him.
I like I said, I always call them one of our own when we see a dirt driver crossing over into the NASCAR side of things. Like I said, we got a lot of them that are over there full time, but I love seeing the guys jump over there on these weekend runs. Corey Day had him on the show, and here he is going to be.
You can watch that on FS1, 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock this
3 o'clock.
afternoon. They got the Xfinity race on the CW network, and then NBC will carry the Cup race tomorrow at Homestead Miami Speedway. Where, by the way, Christopher Bell is the defending winner.
Yes, sir.
Of the Homestead race, so we'll see if he can feel a lot better about this Sunday than he did last Sunday.
Did you see the rating? So last week was the first time NASCAR went head-to-head with F1 on both major stations, not like an offshoot station or something.
F1 was on ABC and NBC carried the Cup race.
Yes, sir. Do you know what the coverage was?
I didn't see what it was. What was the...
NASCAR outpaced them by 1 million viewers. So NASCAR had...
How about that?
NASCAR had 2.3 million viewers for their event, and F1 had 1.3 million.
And F1 had 400,000 people on the grounds for the weekend last weekend.
So that'd be a little
Las Vegas didn't do that live attendance, though. But,
no. But so, like you said,
well, there's no American drivers in F1.
That's right. And we're in the playoffs. So it was a playoff race. So, like you said, it makes you feel good that they're still getting a pretty good number tuning in each week. We're talking in the heart of football season, guys. We know where America's heart is right now, and I mean, if you're not a stick and ball guy, we get that, but there's a lot of people with the crossover now with this football and NASCAR and racing, and so it was pretty cool event. I thought, like I said, I'm looking forward to this next round, Kirk. See who we're going to have in the
2 more weeks after today, Martinsville, and then the Final Four at Phoenix coming up in a couple of weeks. So we'll see how all that goes.
How it all shakes out.
How it all shakes out, man. So we got Chase Rodman giving us a final update of the 2024 High Limit Series. Chase did a great job as the main voice of the Kubota High Limit Racing this year, and he joined us on a regular basis and gave us a final wrap-up on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show. Here's Chase Rodman.
Brad Sweet has wrapped up the championship, hadn't he?
Yeah. I mean, about a week ago. Yeah, it's all done, man. It was a good year. Brad obviously pretty dominant all season long. Beginning of the year looked like he might have been challenged by a couple different guys there, but then, he does what he does best and, holds down a, 5-point whatever average finish and wins it by over 200 points. So really dominant year for him, but overall I'd say a really good season for High Limit in its inaugural year.
Yeah, I mean, he won those races at I-70 and backed it up at Lucas Oil Speedway the first night of the final weekend.
Won 3 in a row.
Yeah, probably the only bittersweet thing, we haven't had a chance to talk to Brad yet, but with that little bit of a slider he tried to pull on James McFadden there on the final night, he didn't feel too good about that one, though, did he?
No, obviously he was pretty upset about that, and, I think what also didn't help was that it already happened once this year, between those two, right? It seemed like between them, it was always like a photo finish or, McFadden was getting crashed or, some big moment. They were quite the duo all year long, McFadden and Sweet. So, obviously you never want to end off the year like that, but, I thought that they were a really fun two guys to watch all year. They had a lot of good battles. They had some crazy moments that provided for some interesting moments on social media and things like that, right? But, other than that, man, it was still pretty exciting. I'm glad that we had 2 good races down there at Texas to end off the year and thought we might see Darren Pittman win both of them, man. He was really good, but, still a great way to end the year and, already looking forward to doing it again next year.
We just had Brent Marks on the show here just a few minutes ago. Man, he's finished up his season on a strong note, hasn't he?
Yeah, $50,000 win at Texas, secured 5th place in the high limit point standings, and then, goes out there to Lincoln and wins $20,000, I think it was there this weekend. So I'm not sure what the rest of his year looks like. I'd imagine those guys would probably go to World Finals maybe. Brent was really good there. I think it was last year or the year before. So, I don't know. We'll see if they'll go there. I know a lot of high limit guys aren't going to be going to World Finals. They're going to be kind of taking the rest of the year kind of slow and, maybe make a couple starts here and there. But, Brent's been really good here recently, and it's good to see because he had a pretty tough stretch there for a little bit in the midway point of the season.
He tells us he's skipping the World Finals this time. He's going to stay close to home for a couple of races and then call it a day.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who else is going to be going. Brent, obviously, you mentioned he's not going. I don't think Rico's going. I don't think Brad's going. So we'll have to wait and see which high limit guys end up going. But World Finals, obviously, it's a pretty tough field of cars, and it's 4 nights in a row. So a lot of these guys might not want to travel there for almost a week at a time and all that. But it's been good to see Brent have some speed, and obviously. High limit's not all the way done this year. We still got 3 more races coming up in Australia that we're all looking forward to. But it's been cool to see the high limit guys winning some races here recently. Not only Brent, we saw Peck win, Corey Eliason and Justin Peck win over there at the Trophy Cup. Corey Day wins the overall points championship. Rudine Racing wins the finale with Trey Starks behind the wheel. So. A couple of high limit guys have been pretty fast here recently, winning some races.
Silly season news already hot and heavy. Spencer Baston has a new ride for next year. Talk about that.
Yeah, announced, Thursday night, I believe, that he's going to be running next year for Jason Myers. Corey Day is going to be making the jump up to NASCAR on a more regular basis. So, Jason is a huge supporter of high limit and believes in the future of high limit, and he wants to have a car out there running. So, got Spencer in there, and I'm doing some stuff on my YouTube channel here, and I was looking at the numbers for Baston from last year, and he might not have won a race, but he had a lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s, and he had a lot of speed. But I do think that him having a little bit of a change in scenery is going to help him out a ton. Obviously, we know the car's fast, and I think that those guys can win 3 or 4 races, maybe 5 races next year, just on the car speed alone. Spencer, it's kind of like athletes, man. You want to every now and again, a guy gets kind of, he just gets in the same rut and it's the same thing each and every weekend. It's time for something new for him, and hopefully it works out, and maybe that's the catalyst that gets him back to victory lane.
What are some of the other new? We know that the 13's going to have a new driver next year as well. Just kind of what all so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those are the 2 that we know for sure as far as changes goes, and they're the only 2 that are officially committed to come back to high limit. But we can all make the assumption that Brad Sweet's going to come back. Rico, Tyler Courtney, those 3 guys, I'm 98% sure they're going to be back. Tanner Thorson, throw him in the mix as well. So. I think we were kind of breaking it down there at the end of Texas, and, by the time we were done, kind of looking at the list, it looked like, for sure we had about 9 guys that we knew were going to be coming back. Some other ones are kind of on the fence, or, there's ride changes going on and things like that, So it's going to be we have not even seen half of it, we got to figure out where Justin Peck's going. We thought he was going to CJB, but that doesn't sound like it's going to be the case anymore, and I don't know, man. There's a lot that's about to go down here over the next couple of weeks when it comes to ride swaps. And then the other thing you got to pay attention to is which guys are going to be switching from what series. That just adds a whole new layer of the silly season in sprint car racing now.
Hey, we were told that James McFadden is going to race over in Australia next year. Do you know that to be the case?
Yeah, McFadden, he announced that at our banquet that he wasn't going to be back as a full-time driver next year, which obviously is really sucks. That's a big hit to the field of cars. He's a guy that can win each and every night. He's a great guy in the pit area. His family's awesome. So it's going to really suck to not have him out there on the road full-time. But, we do know that he's going to come back and run. I think he said something like 20 or 30 races or something next year on a part-time basis. But, that leaves another hole. What's the Roth Motorsports car going to do? Nobody really knows. Will they, have that other car out there on the high limit tour? They did get one of those charter positions, right? So we'll have to wait and see. But, from everything I'm hearing, the last I heard at least, that more than likely the Roth car that was on the high limit tour is going to go back to being a California-only car unless somebody can come in with some funding and maybe a crew chief and get them going. But that's what it sounds like right now. But obviously there's still a long time until the season begins, and there can be a lot of things that change.
And Dason Persley is the new driver for Buick Motorsports, that number 13 car. Who's driving the CJB car next year, 5 car?
Well, I have that information, but I'm not allowed to tell anybody about it right now.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
watch
but
your YouTube channel. You'll break it on your YouTube channel, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll talk about it on there, but it's going to be coming here pretty soon because I know that the guy that's racing it, their first race is supposed to be that Bridgeport Motorsports Park race in New Jersey. They're having, I think it's on November 1st and 2nd, so about 10 days away. That team is supposed to race with that driver. So I would have to assume that is going to be announced here relatively, pretty soon in the coming days. So it's definitely going to catch a lot of people off guard. I'll tell you that.
Well, thanks a lot for all your coverage this year with the Racing Boys. We appreciate you coming on most every week, and you did a great job up in the booth this year. You and Tony Laporta. If I had to grade the first year of the full High Limit Series this year,
You did a
I'd
great
give
job,
it an A+. As a race fan, I really enjoyed the season out there in many ways. So hats off to everybody. It was great shows all year long.
Yeah, it was really fun, guys. I mean, I think that the overall season, I think it went a whole lot better than what everybody was even anticipating. Even the guys that are, the head honchos, I think it went better than what they were even expecting, So it was definitely a lot of fun. We got a lot to work on. Obviously, it's year one. We got a lot of stuff we can improve on, but we got a good baseline, and I think we've got a pretty good fan base, and people are excited about what we're doing right now. And we got more stuff in the tank. Obviously Australia's coming up, but then our schedule should hopefully be coming out here pretty soon. I haven't seen it, but hopefully, we got some new racetracks on there, maybe some new events, going to different places around the country and things like that. So looking forward to that, and appreciate you guys having me on your show every week. And like I tell you every time, man, I just think it's awesome to have a show like this talking about sprint cars and dirt track racing. The more content, the better for us, getting the word spread. And I appreciate you having me on and talking high limit racing and sprint car racing in general. So thanks again, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
All right, there you have it. Chase Rodman joining us on Mostly Motorsports. Will he be on with us
Probably not.
this
That's
week?
probably it.
No, because the high limit season's over. So, but I know that Chase puts up some YouTube videos up there. You can check out. He keeps everybody up to date.
And then he
on the
also
silly
hosted
season.
that at the end of the banquet that they had at the end of the shoot.
He was the MC of that,
him and
along with Tony Laporta.
Tony Laporta.
Yeah.
So you can.
So we talked about his wild tie he had.
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say. So, in the podcast, you want to go back and listen to the whole podcast, and not just for the Chase Rodman interview, but for the Brent Marks interview as well. But we talk about, if you don't know, Chase Rodman is 6'7". So in order for him to have
and he never played basketball.
And he said he never played basketball. But in order for him to have a tie, I thought he must have had one made special. But it turns out that somebody just brought that tie to him and said, here's the tie you're wearing.
You wear this
You're
tie.
wearing this tie. And it was a loud and proud tie.
It'll be the only time all year he'll have a suit on.
That's right. But they did a great job. That was a really good event. And
it was a good banquet.
The whole thing is all on YouTube, like you said, not just part of it, the whole from beginning to end.
Right.
So tonight we're following night two.
You cut out a little bit of that too, didn't you, Todd?
Oh yeah. Now, like I said, all of those interviews that we played today were partials. Chase Rodman one. The Connor Wade one. We cut quite a bit of it out. The other one, the Trenton Berry one, obviously we cut on 90% of it out because the race got rained out at Lakeside, so I didn't have anything, promoting that. And
we
then,
were promoting Lakeside when it got rained out.
So like you said, but if you want to go back and listen to that podcast was up. You can get that wherever you download all your podcasts.
Episode 334 will be this Monday.
There you go, 334.
And we'll have Brad Sweet on. We'll have Seth Bergman on.
And Connor Wade.
And we'll talk about what goes on tonight. Night 2, World of Outlaws at Riverside. Night 2, USAC non-wing sprint cars at Red Dirt. Night 2, at RPM Speedway for the ASCS National Tour.
We've got Brad Sweet and Seth Bergman on, don't we?
That's it.
Yep.
So we'll look forward to talking to everybody. 12 noon if you want to watch it live on Monday.
Right.
So, hey, when do we go to Central Standard Time? The
Comes
clocks
up
fall
next
back. When does
sometime
that
in
happen?
November. I just saw him post the other day. I think we have 2 more weeks. I think, or second week in November, not 2 more weeks, but second week in November. I think.
You know, it was dark all the way
Man.
in this morning, wasn't it?
I left a little earlier this morning than I normally do. Like I usually come in early, but I woke up early and I was thinking I'm going to get my breakfast and get on in here. But I got out there and not only was it was dark all the way here. I came in and got everything set up, turned everything on, and left to go get my breakfast. It was still dark.
It was still dark.
So
Right.
that's how I know that we're getting.
Boy, the days really get short this time of the year.
They
don't
really
Hey,
do.
it gets dark at 7:15.
It's just, like you said, it's that time of year, and we know it, and we always deal with this. But, yeah, if you don't listen to our podcast live tomorrow at noon Central Time, you can always get that anytime. We'll have that thing. We'll be live, but I post that up on we finish that show, Kirk, 2 o'clock our time, and that thing's usually up by 2:30, and for you guys to able to share and listen to that anytime.
So, guess we're just going to enjoy the rest of the weekend. What plans you got there, Todd?
Well, I got to had a lot of rain out by my house and had a couple trees fall down, or limbs, not trees, a couple big limbs. One of my willow trees that I planted the day we moved in, the year we moved in, been in that house since 2020. 2002, and had a big willow branch, big one fall down. So going to drive the truck up there, take my brother's truck up there, and drag that thing to the burn pile. We're going to try to pull a burn permit tomorrow because I think the burn ban is off because of the amount of rain we got in our neighborhood. I think they're going to allow us to burn. So
right.
we had a burn ban. I don't know if everybody. I'm sure 90% of the Midwest was under that burn ban, but. Us here, Atchison, I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Atchison's got smoked. They got some pretty big storms, too, in this thing yesterday. So St. Joe got a little bit of it. And I know tonight, if you're going out to a racetrack, have fun out there. Lakeside Speedway. Heck,
Monster trucks at Lakeside.
in 2 hours. You can they're already probably out there getting those trucks warmed up right now, getting ready to roll. So in 2 hours, you can be out there watching that. If you can't make the noon show, got a 6 p.m. show as well. Bring you a jacket, and you'll be just fine out there.
I think this final night of the season at I-35 Speedway tonight, and they've got, of course, 3 hours down the road, Wichita, 81 Speedway,
81 Speedway, the big race.
USMTS, Spooktacular, $5,000 to win. If you missed out at Lakeside, we all did, missed out at Lakeside last night. You want to watch the modifieds, head on down to 81 Speedway. So we'll all be watching the Chiefs tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
At what time?
3:25.
3:25.
We're not the
Raiders.
We're not the
Scott?
national game, but we're the late game for us in the Midwest. But
last time they played the Raiders on Christmas Sunday, that
was our
didn't
last
turn
loss.
out so good.
That was
did
our
it?
last loss. We haven't lost a game since that game.
We haven't lost a game in 12 games.
That's it. That was their last loss on Christmas Day.
with the Raiders.
Now they play them again.
The Raiders.
But this time it's in that when they lost to him, it was at Arrowhead,
yeah,
right?
Right.
Now we're in Arrowhead West.
So now you're going to be at the same site they won the Super Bowl last year.
You want to hear a statistic? The Chiefs have more playoff wins in Las Vegas Arena than the Raiders do.
Yeah. Boy, that hurts if you're a Raider fan, right? Call Dean Mills up and tell him that.
The fact that the Chiefs popped champagne in your locker room and celebrated a world championship will go down forever as a dig into the Raiders because the Chiefs won in their home locker room breaking champagne. I mean, there's nothing more you can say to that. Like that new, I don't know what you want to call it. It looks like one of those Rumba vacuum cleaners. That's what their arena kind of looks like, that big black arena out there. But just knowing that they didn't even get to play a playoff game, but we did, and we won.
That really hurts if you're a Raider fan. Wow.
So, yeah, that game's today. Got Monday Night Football, and then, like you said, NASCAR, IndyCar, good stuff today.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. It is
Are you going to go to 81 tonight?
No, I'm not able to make it down there tonight. So,
all right,
but I'll be watching Racing Dirt. We'll have all the live coverage on it. So Trenton Berry does a good job working the pits down there too.
He does a great job. Yep, Trenton Berry is one of the best broadcasters out there.
So we'll be watching.
And he said he's got that other guy calling the races. What was his name?
Schmidt, I think.
He said a hot. He said a hot. He had a new hot shoe on the mic, is what he said that he was looking forward to. So tune into the broadcast, Trenton Berry and those guys in Stick.
Eric Chesterman, I would assume, would be on the PA too at 81. So we'll be keeping tabs on that, and at Riverside, Red Dirt Raceway, and RPM Speedway all hosting big events tonight.
Right. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I want to thank our great producer, Todd Surprise, for doing such a great job each and every week.
Thank you, guys.
That he does. And for my partner, Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.